pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this 11th episode of 2023. And while I'm getting Patrick on the phone, I want to remind you to go check out our merch store. You can find it at American Spirit Novelties and Apparel.store. All right, Patrick's on. My name is Chris Williams, and you're listening to the Constitution Commandos.
The El Salvadorian president made a comment that America can no longer talk about democracy to anybody else in the world. And he's one of the ones that has come out and been vocal about it. Now, believe this, there are many world's leaders that are saying the exact same thing. We have lost any moral high ground that we ever had is gone.
Yeah, we went from a country that everybody wanted to be like or wanted to be a part of to nobody wants anything to do with red, white, and blue.
No.
And I do mean nobody. And I've been saying that since we pulled out of Afghanistan. And I mean, I don't know if anybody's really been watching the news like I have or, trying to keep up with world events, but I have, recently heard about the AAR that was released by the Pentagon and the DOD. And it is BS. As a matter of fact, who was that admiral? I mean, I'm ashamed that this dude was even part of the Navy, but he claimed...
Kirby?
Yeah, this is not an AAR of accountability just to see what happened. Well, what in the world are you having an after action review? Look, I went in the Navy first, so the Army jargon is still kind of unfamiliar to me, even though I was in the Army for a while. But the thing is, I know what an AAR is.
Yep.
And an after action review, you discuss what happened during this evolution, and you figured out where your mistakes were. You figured out what you did right, what you can improve on, what your mistakes were, and you refine it. You make it better, which means accountability has to come into play. You can't improve anything without accountability. So this admiral says that this report was not put out for accountability. Okay, hanging number one. I don't understand these people, how they even try to pull the wool. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to say it. These people aren't pulling the wool over anybody's eyes, okay? And I'm talking to the American people right now. You just refuse to see the truth. That's all there is to it. I know I'm going to sound like a real pain in the ass today, but I have actually, and I'm not blaming anybody because anybody that knows me knows I like to help people out. And I will help people to a fault of my own, but those days are long gone. Long gone. And you can go ahead and call me anti-Christian if you want to, and we can bring up the verse that you told me about earlier in Isaiah 6, and I promise you see it's not anti-Christian. Oh, wait, no, you won't, because you're too blind to see the truth anyway.
Well, another thing, this is one of these things that is right in your face that people refuse to acknowledge. The Chinese spy balloon.
Oh, my God.
Now they're releasing that there is intel that says that China was collecting data, real-time data, that we know the balloon was able to be directed or directionally controlled. And then all the data that it collected, it was sent in real time back to China.
And by the way, they said that balloon was doing figure 8 patterns over, was it Wyoming, some of our military
installations, yep. And this is the thing. Now, we had eyes on that before it even got over the Aleutian Islands.
Before it was China.
Pacific. Yeah. Now, why? I mean, I want people to dig down deep into that darkest compartment that's been closed off called rational thinking. Now, it is a freaking balloon. I don't give a damn how large the balloon is, what the structure of the balloon is, or the makeup of this balloon. But this is 2023. If somebody is going to tell me that the United States Department of Defense, or NORAD, does not have the capability to pop a freaking balloon after we put somebody on the moon, then there's a problem. So to me, that tells me that Biden administration had perfect knowledge of what China was doing, allowed it to happen because China has given the Biden family so much money.
Mm-hmm.
Biden is working for China, not the American people.
I've been saying that for a long time. I even got onto a few congressmen, including the one in our district. I don't mind mentioning his initials, Michael Guest. But ever since Biden stole the Oval Office, and yes, I said stole, I have been on congressmen about not doing what they've been doing, which is simply putting a camera in front of their face and saying what they're doing, but telling Biden what he needs to do. That, look, you're not playing me like that. You already know Biden is doing what he needs to do because he's not an American president. He works for China. Impeach him, get him out of office, and legitimately prosecute him under the laws of the land, which would make him fall under the category of treason. Everybody in the Biden administration is committing treason. If you don't believe that, just read the Constitution that he rose his right hand and swore to uphold, defend, and preserve.
Yep. And treason is basically to provide aid and comfort to a foreign adversary or to an enemy of the nation.
That is
and
correct.
That's what he has done.
Over and over and over again. And with that spy balloon, I'm just going to tell you now, our government knew that thing was launched. I mean, China probably calls it, hey, we're fixing to launch this balloon. It's ours. Don't shoot it down. And instead of just not letting the American people know what it is, they made sure the American people didn't know what it was.
They weren't even going to tell anybody about it until some civilians saw it overhead.
On the East Coast.
Somebody up in South Dakota or somewhere, and I'm not even going to name a state because I don't know what state they were from. I know it was in the up there in the region of the Canadian border.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there were people up there that were taking pictures of it. You know, what is this? You know, that was the first time any civilian heard about this damn balloon. The government was, if that guy didn't look up and see it, the government wasn't going to tell us.
And the government knew it was up there before. I mean, look, I said the same thing back when we were hunting Osama bin Laden, okay? Because some of the news reports came out that he was hiding in caves in the desert. Okay, listen, I was in the military and I was really amazed at the technology that the military has. And you could not convince me then or ever after having been in the military and seen some of this technology, you cannot convince me that Osama bin Laden at 6'5" was that difficult to find with the technology that we utilize today. As I said then, bin Laden and the Bushes are on each other's payroll. That's why they couldn't find him. Not to mention the fact we trained him.
Well, not just that. Iraq and Afghanistan were supposed to be never-ending wars. They were not wars to win.
Right.
They were supposed to be a reason for the military-industrial complex to tap into our resources, our tax dollars. That's all it was. And the politicians that acted on it and sent us over there were getting paid by the military-industrial complex.
And don't forget the extra money that we make by, sending our construction companies over there, and the resources that we were really over there to get had nothing to do with what the country was convinced we were over there for. I mean, basically, we had to kill 3,000 of our own people to convince the American people to go fight a war we didn't need to be in. That's what it took.
Yeah.
And don't forget all the international laws. That's exactly correct. So we could, forget all the laws that we have to adhere to as far as international relations or even war and peacetime. There are certain things that keep us from doing what we did. So they didn't wait for the American people to give permission. They just threw up a false flag and made the American people so mad that we didn't give a crap about the laws that we were supposed to abide by. It was go turn that country into glass. Did anybody notice how long we were in Afghanistan to begin with?
Well, most people aren't aware of America going in and seizing control of these opium fields and producing heroin by the ass loads and bringing it into America and spreading it around the world.
Exactly. And I'm going to bring up something else too. I know we're probably bouncing from one place to the next in these conversations here, but I heard in the AAR that was given, at least the one that was released to the public, 14 times the prior administration was blamed for the Afghanistan fiasco. Now, explain to me how it is that the existing administration, and if you pay attention at all to politics, nobody accepts responsibility for anything, okay? But we're 3 years into the Biden administration or the Biden corruption. How in the world can they declare that the way we left Afghanistan falls at the table of the Donald Trump administration? Now, Trump did have a plan for coming out of Afghanistan. He did. And he was planning to pull out of Afghanistan. He was. But people, the way we came out of Afghanistan was not only wrong for this country, it was wrong for all of our allies. And quite frankly, China and Russia are salivating at the way we pulled out of Afghanistan. That was not Trump's plan. And any moron knows that you don't pull out of a country that you've been at war with the way we did in Afghanistan. And let's not talk about the American lives that were lost because of that extraction happening the way it did. Namely, 13 American troops, young troops, okay? I don't even think the oldest one was 21. But we basically just sacrificed a bunch of American lives, and not to mention the people in Afghanistan who were helping us out, that we were granting American citizenship to for their efforts. How many people did we lose? You're not going to get that in an AAR from the Biden administration. What you're going to get from the Biden administration is a bunch of BS about it being Trump's fault.
They blame Trump for everything.
Of course they do. Of course they do. And you know what? That's always a flag for me. Anybody who doesn't ever accept responsibility for anything, they're lying. They're absolutely lying. For Biden administration to be blaming the Trump administration, doesn't this beg the question, are you even a president or anybody in the administration, since you have no responsibility, you must be full of incompetence. Because as far as I'm concerned, you're telling everybody you're not even doing your job.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy, but as crazy it gets. I mean, we're watching lunacy be overlooked by the masses. And to me, it's unfathomable. It's just like complete fiction. If you were to create a movie 30 years ago and the simple plot or the theme of the movie was you take a republic and you slowly imprison and persecute your civilians, and if the script played out like what we're watching today, people would have thought, I mean, but now that they are literally witnessing this stuff.
Well, actually, 30 years ago, if a movie with that theme and that plot had ever been produced, it would have gone nowhere. It just wouldn't be believable.
But then when you turn around and look at it today, people are living it.
Sure.
People are feeling the pinch at the grocery store, at the gas station. They're literally, people have watched how many food processing plants, food storage facilities, poultry processing plants. How many things have we watched? Chemical fires from derailments.
Just derailments, period.
How many things have the American people firsthand watched and witnessed, and they still deny it is happening? See, that is what is so. It's like I'm living in make-believe world.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how do y'all not recognize it? But see, once again, it goes back to what I said earlier. I think they do recognize it. I think this is their objective. This is their goal. This is what the citizen that argues any of those points, this is what they want.
Right.
They want America to collapse.
Now, what could be the, what could be the reason for being an American citizen and wanting it to collapse? Now, that's beyond me.
Well, it is.
It's the same thing as saying, I don't like the house I live in, so you just light it up.
Burn it down.
That's what you're doing.
But see, I look at it the same way, but we weren't quite, we were out of school before the level of indoctrination is. Hey, these people really believe that our founding fathers were evil. Mm-hmm. They really believe that the Constitution was written by racist people, and it itself was to oppress a certain group of people. These people nowadays truly believe, that we are an evil nation. These people honestly believe it.
That's
correct. And the only way they can, in their mind, from what they've been taught, is that socialism is utopian.
This is so far from that.
They don't fully understand. There is only one utopia, and it does not exist on this earth.
That's right.
And socialism is only the little sister of communism. Mm-hmm. That is what socialism, when it grows up and it matures, that is where it goes, to communism. Mm-hmm. And people honestly believe this shit. And that's why I have serious questions about what do you do with the masses of people when we take the country back. I am not one that believes that re-education is going to work. I believe that you strip these people of their citizenship, or you prosecute them for treason.
Yep.
Because their acts are treasonous. They are trying to overthrow not just the country or the government, but the founding principles of our country. That is treasonous.
And that is, now, by the way, he said treason, but for the people who are listening, if you don't believe that's treason, you can't find any plainer language than that in the Constitution. And you don't have to be a lawyer to read it or understand it.
No, it's written in pretty plain English, well written. Their use of the English language was exponentially greater than anybody's today.
I think that period of
the
language was
words
much
could-
better. Yeah.
Oh, no, absolutely. It hadn't been corrupted by then. I mean,
Right.
it was starting to in some areas, I'm sure. I mean, there's always been changes to English, but I mean, I'm just saying that they were so eloquent with their words. They
Mhm.
utilized words to say a lot. Few words meant a lot. And that's
That's
another reason you have today's generation is making up words or changing the definitions of words. Like, the Fed. Oh no, the definition. I mean, ever since before I was alive, the definition of a recession was two consecutive quarters with negative GDP growth.
That's right.
Well, it's been that way for over 50, 60, 70 years. And now, all of a sudden, with this evil demonic administration and his lackeys running all of these damn offices and departments of the government, the bureaucracy, they all of a sudden come out and say, no metric for what a damn recession is because employment is still good. No, you cannot change definition. Agenda. That's not how English works. It's no different than them saying, you asking somebody in the cabinet or in a bureaucracy what a woman is. Now, not just in the government. Go to any corporation nowadays. Ask them what a woman is. Oh, I don't know. Can a man get pregnant? Yes. I mean, really? Y'all are delusional. Y'all are learning a psychopathy. I mean, it's like there are not enough mental institutions in this country to attend to the needs of the greater population of this movement.
No, that's true. And look, if never mind, I want to go there so bad. Yeah, I'll go there. For anybody to think that Joe Biden is, first of all, our president, you got to think about one thing. He's not serving this country, period. And for anybody to think that what he says about, what does he call Republicans now? The extremist MAGA movement. Okay. I proudly claim being an extreme MAGA participant because what we believe in is simply this: the freedoms or the liberties that are God given. And I'm hoping some of you sit here and can say, I want you to leave a comment, please, that say that you don't believe in God because you got a lot to learn. But God gave us certain freedoms and liberties, and those are all listed in our Constitution. You just check the first two amendments, and that covers it. But we have certain freedoms and liberties we believe that all Americans should be, covered by. But
we believe that every person on this planet was given those liberties.
Yes, we do, but our Constitution is the only one
that permit it.
Right.
Right. I mean, we believe that every person living the planet has those exact same liberties. Our Constitution only to restrict the government.
That's correct.
To preserve those rights.
And our founding fathers did believe in small government. They knew that if a government got too large, it was going to be bad for the people. And the only way for you as a citizen of the United States of America to have the protection for those freedoms was to have small government. That's simple. It's pretty plain, isn't it?
It's about as plain as it gets.
You know, John Kennedy, at his time, was the youngest president to ever serve. And in all actuality, according to the founding fathers, their belief was that you could not be a Catholic and serve as a president because your loyalties would be divided. And yet, John Kennedy has been the only presidential candidate questioned about his Catholicism, and his response was remarkable. Any man who desires the office of the president and does not serve the needs of the American people does not need to run because they are not deserving of the office. But John Kennedy also, in one of his more famous speeches, and you all heard this, I'm sure, it's not, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. And then he said to the rest of the world, ask not what America can do for you. Ask what we could do together for the betterment of all humanity.
That's right.
To me, that covers everything that this country was founded for. We were never supposed to be the world police. We were never supposed to be the ones that just invade countries because they have resources we want. We were supposed to take care of America, period. That is our first responsibility. In reality, that's our only responsibility. However, there have been many elected politicians over the years who have decided that they want more and more power for themselves. And I just love how the Bible says any man who rolls up a stone for someone else will only be the victim of that stone. I mean, but, the Bible also says that, woe unto those who call evil good and good evil, and darkness light and light darkness. Woe unto those people. And that word woe in the Bible, it doesn't mean like, oh, hold up. It doesn't mean anything other than your destruction. I mean,
that's right. Just like it says, woe to the man who harms a child. I paraphrase. I'm not quoting. I'm not a theologian.
Then let's just go with what Jesus said. Whatever you do to the least of these, you do also unto me. Do not forbid the children to come near, for out of the mouth of babes is praise perfected. And you want to talk about passing laws for pedophilia? Insanity. Pure evil.
Evil. I won't even say that is insanity. I will say that is purely demonic. That is Luciferian. They are very clear in mind. They know what they're doing. Exactly. They just seem to worship at the foot of the wrong God.
Well, that's it for today, folks. As usual, that's another one for the history books. And we want to hear your thoughts about this episode, so leave us a comment in the comments section. Tell us what you think. And don't forget to go check out our new merch store at American Spirit Novelties and Apparel.store. Well, that's it for today. We'll see you next time. And on behalf of my brother and myself, we're the Constitution Commandos, signing out.